I mean, I think 18 to 19 was a very big change in kind of who I am. I think it could just be a part of growing up, but it's the thing of like the decisions that I made as well. And maybe I'll give you. It's kind of like a nice little drop in December, and some of the highlights of what's happened this year and what my lessons. So we go off script a little bit, I guess. I haven't been scripting any of this. I don't know why I said off script. Okay, so the first up until September, I didn't grow too much, which was a shame. I think of those months as not particularly good. As year one in uni, and I was still very like new to my clothing brand and the podcast. So I don't know. I just managed to keep going, like because things started changing for the podcast around in the summer. We basically grew from about 200 followers to the start of the summer till I think it was like 800-ish by the end, which is very significant when like the first year under 200 followers. That's kind of ridiculous. This is on Instagram. We blew up a bit on TikTok beforehand, and uh, well, all the kind of bigger guests came slowly. Like I think Carmelly Pizza was around the start of the summer as well. So with that to say, like the some of the actions we took, it wasn't growth didn't just happen by itself. I had to take actions by it. Also, like with my clothing brand, we I didn't get a mentor. I basically like I was very low point in the summer where it's like I've put a year into this and nothing's really happened. And I then like think to myself like I I don't know what I'm doing, so I need to hire a mentor. And I do actually need to get a podcast mentor as well. My advice to anyone like is get a mentor because if you're taking your life seriously and you're taking some sort of like higher new pursuit or something like it, if I didn't switch up, I'd still be doing the same mistakes. But yeah, I get my mentor about August, and I basically take my brand from just like t-shirts in my uni house to like doing mini sort of publicity stunts in front of people and going out and asking loads of strangers questions about my brand and just getting content in ways that like takes a little bit of confidence. It takes quite a lot actually. Um, and now I've kind of found the love in doing marketing stunts. Like they're not like full on 100 people in a mall all dancing. They're not like that right now. Right now they are. The latest one was we got four models and a cameraman and got them to do like a Paris fashion walk, like a runway in it was going to be in Joel's uni lecture, but it was just a random uni lecture. And although this plan failed a lot because the models were late and Joel like had to Joel was going to film it, so we had to go into a random lecture, and we only got like one shot from the cameraman, one angle instead of like multiple, which was planned. I still did it, and now I feel like I can do a bigger stunt with that because I've proved that I can do one with actually there's five of us in the runway and all the other shots and things like that. So that excites me. That excites me going into next year. The podcast still excites me as well. And yeah, it's I've just interesting thing is I've sucked for a long time. Like I feel like maybe like it's been tough. It's such a weird thing how it works because when my the energy increases when the actions increase, and slowly it's almost like me seeing all these bits come together. I know what I need to work on. Like I know that I need to get sales as my next goal for next year, and I need to work on putting together an optimal sales funnel. I that could take months, hopefully not the whole year, but that will take months. Um, right now, the bottom, like the marketing that people see on the Latunia Instagram, that's the bottom of the sales funnel. That's up to a good standard, and I know I can keep making that better. So that's really cool. But right now, if when people see the marketing, they think cool. The few that do go onto the website, there's it's not set up properly so that it's like the lowest friction possible. There isn't like the pop-ups to basically hook the viewers, and it it's weird. I'm new to it. Like I'm new to sales. That's kind of the last big piece into all these pieces hopefully coming together. And it will be interesting if one day I'll go viral or something like that. Because life will change very like differently. Like the personal belief. Like I've had to run on basically no proof because I have to. Because basically I have like I probably slightly less or maybe exactly like 10, 11K's worth of stock. I've either given away or sold a little bit and stuff like that. So we still got like a huge like barrier to that's keeping me do it. So I've kept doing it because I have to. And then there's like a very deep question of like, what if another year goes past and you haven't made any progress? And I don't actually think like I think it's possible. I could post 365 times and all of them not go particularly anywhere and things like that. But I think the self development is worth it. And I think that it all results in 8 years' time, because we're coming up to about 2 years in like pursuing a podcast and a clothing brand. That's what I need. Like the 10 year plan, like the so in 8 years I'll be good. Hopefully, that's what I tell myself. That's kind of what keeps me going. I think my biggest problem right now is money. Uh, right now is the 5th of December. I have £70 in my bank account, because my student loan ran out, and I've done a couple. The stunts do cost a little bit of money, and yeah, I just don't earn that much because I'm also a student. So it's interesting though, because when you have no money as an entrepreneur, there's something called bootstrapping, where basically like I figure out ways to do things that are like very low or little cost. Like most brands will straight away pay for models, pay for studio. I can get more views than them with giving the models the only payment as clothing and just filming stuff in public, which is arguably better. And that just requires me like putting a DM on no, putting a post on TikTok asking like, "Would you model for my brand?" And it's weird, like I people just people respond occasionally, and I didn't know that was a thing until a couple of months ago. So really, like September was I started putting posters of my brand around, and then I think I did the first. I started work with my mentor in September, and then we did one stunt in October. That showed me like the increase in views and stuff, and what's a tiny bit of like what could be possible. And then I just done one in November, and I've yet to edit it. So I guess I'm excited about that and where it can go, because although branding, I think a brand is hard to build because it's long. You've got to There's a lot to it in repeating the same values over and over again in different and interesting ways, and that costs money and stuff like that. But it is a fun thing to do if anyone who's listening does want to start a brand of any sort. Like, I don't think Latunia definitely won't be my last business. I like the game. It's very cool. Creating something into existence. But yeah, I talk about the podcast a little bit. It's it's good fun. Like I I take what I learn and apply it. I find that people I talk to in real life, I accidentally interview, which is quite funny. Um, yeah, I think it's become more and more of my identity what I've learned on just like the hour of doing this. And me and Joel have no intention of stopping for the next 10 years. So we'll put a decade into it, and we'll see what happens, I guess. I think I want 2025 to be bigger in terms of guests. There's a lot of people I'm trying to climb the ladders to get through. For the podcast, I want a big 2025, like mainly in terms of guests, because it basically, it's not that I can't get to the big people, it just takes months. Do I want to pack that in? But back to the podcast, like growing a podcast is quite interesting. A lot of the things that I thought would matter don't. Like even having a big guest doesn't do as much as you think. Um, at our size anyway. What was interesting was around April time, we had Dion on, who's one of our most played episodes, and afterwards he basically gave me two changes to the reels, and that's how things started picking up. Like they told me to. He told me to have the do the text so that it's only 3 words at a time or less, and add trending sound. And it's nice, like the amount of people that are engaged with it, and like the growth over time it is nice to see. Um, I think the 10K point is what I really want, and I will feel like I've achieved something somewhat once we get to about 10K on Instagram. Right now, I still kind of it's hard to say. Like people ask me maybe, what do you do? Who do you sort of define yourself as? Like I can't say entrepreneur really because I'm not successful, and it's a little bit annoying. But again, like that comes back to individuality, what I was saying. So like so what I can say is that when if I so what I can say about this year is that I haven't given up on my passions, and the result of that is they're doing a little bit better. This might be I expect this is somewhat normal. I think I had a very, very bad start with my brand. So maybe that's slightly we're definitely below the how the average brand's doing. But it's this might just be exponential growth, and sort of like Chris Williamson says, he did more plays on in 3.5 years into his show, one episode. Fuck. I think it's a thing of exponent. I tell myself that it's a thing of exponential growth. Like Chris Williamson did more plays, free one effort for one episode. Chris Williamson did more plays. Oh, fuck. Chris Williamson does more plays in one episode than like his and then 4 years combined, like the first 4 years, something like that ridiculous. It's strange, probably what happens like when you don't give up.